Hello, Tuesdays together. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. Was making sure I could connect properly. And I am just doing a quick screen and audio check. All right, my husband tells me that everything is connecting okay. Great. Happy Wednesday, everyone. And for those of you who are able to join me live, thank you for joining. And big thanks, first of all, to Tuesdays Together for hosting these live sessions. It's been a great chance to learn from the community. I took a lot of notes during Carrie's live. I think it was just last week on, getting started with online business. So I thought that was great. And today I'm here to tell you guys how you can engage with your audience in different ways using Instagram stories and lives. And so I have a little presentation put together that I'm going to be screen sharing with you. And give me 1 second to pull it up and give people a couple more minutes to join. And if you are watching right now, if you could drop a comment and say hi, let me know if you can hear me okay. And I'm just about putting the screen up. I will switch to sharing my screen as well so you can see. For who's joined live right now, if I could get a quick thumbs up that you can see my screen that I have up. All right, picture in picture is working. Hi, Shanna. Thanks for confirming you can hear me loud and clear. All right. Sissy, can you please let me know how you got your video so clear? How are you doing the live? Okay. Quick note about my setup. I am actually the first image that you saw of me. I'm using my Sony A7 III camera for the wide shot that you saw of me when I first came on. So I'll switch to that real quick so you guys can tell the difference. I wonder if did it switch back to the live view of the wide view. Yeah, so I'm actually hooked up to my camera right now, and then I'm using Ecamm Live to broadcast directly into the group right now. What I like with Ecamm is it lets me quickly switch between the screen and screen share, as well as have the option of picture in picture. This is obviously not the only platform that lets you do that, but it's just the one that I've been using so far, and I've really liked it. Oh, looks like you guys are seeing a lot of crazy stuff on my screen right now. So I've hit the wrong option. I really meant to just do camera only, which is, this is the Sony view that I was talking about. So, but yeah, so Sissy, hope that answered your question. All right. So let me now switch back to doing my screen and camera, or screen and webcam. Right, John? Is it screen and webcam? My husband helped me set all this up, so just want to make sure I'm showing the right version. Okay, great.
Now screen and cam.
Screen and cam? Whoops. Alright. Sorry about that, guys. And that's what happens when it's live. I think I got thrown off a little bit because when I saw that question come through, I have to find my screen that I was on. Sorry. Okay. Trying to just get the screen back. It's probably lagging a little bit on y'all's side. All right, great. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I think I have like a small banner that I don't want there. I'm just going to change something real quick. right, so our topic today is how to engage with Instagram stories and lives. So my main thing that I want to do today is show you how you can increase engagement and interaction with your Instagram audience so that you can better connect with your community and audience and ultimately drive more traffic to your brand. Our agenda today, and hopefully I can get through this in a timely manner, is one, I'm going to start off by just discussing some high-level marketing goals that you guys can keep in mind as I go through the different stories and lives examples. And then within Instagram stories, I'm going to be going over different engagement tools. You know, Instagram has obviously a lot of tools at your disposal, but I'm just going to focus on a core 4 today just to keep it succinct. And then give some tips on how to optimize your story engagement so you actually get people viewing your stories. I'll also touch on Instagram Lives, and I have pre-recorded a quick video of how you can add a guest to your live and tips to engage in general with a live audience. And at the very end, I'll touch on how you can properly save your stories and lives so you can ultimately repurpose them. And I'll be checking in on the comments throughout this whole broadcast. So if you have a question that comes up as I'm going through the slides, please drop them in the comments and I will follow up on it. Okay. So first of all, I always like to start with setting up, what are the goals you actually have in mind when you're doing stories and lives, because the idea is to go into it with some kind of plan and strategy. So you're not just posting necessarily randomly, just have a goal in mind. There are 3 main goals that I categorize things into. Goal number 1 is, are you trying to drive traffic? Goal number 2 is, are you trying to do market research? And goal number 3 is, are you trying to build a connection? Now you could actually be doing, multiple goals simultaneously, but let's just dive into if you were doing it one-on-one. For the first goal, if you're trying to drive traffic, typically you could be using stories and lives to increase visibility of new items that you've created. So you might be wanting to drive people to a link in your bio. Let's say it's a new freebie that you've created and you want to use stories to highlight that you've got this new freebie offer. Go to the link in bio so that someone can sign up and opt in to be part of your email list. I know a lot of us there have also used Linktree. So that you could have multiple links tied to your link in bio. So that's an option as well. But generally, let's say you've got a new post, highlight that in a story and drive them to that bio link. Another way is to actually highlight a specific feed post. You're actually able to, there's a little blue airplane symbol underneath a feed post. And when you click on that, it actually gives you the option to add that post to your story. So that you can get more eyeballs on it. Let's say it's a post that's announcing something or a post that's just done particularly well and you just want to now make sure anyone in your story audience sees it too. You could quickly cross-promote that way. You could also use stories to announce upcoming Facebook or Instagram lives that you're doing. I've been doing a live about once a week for the past 3 weeks. And so in addition to, putting something up on my Facebook page, I also do an Instagram story letting people know that I'm going to go live on Facebook. I do have some crossover in my audience between Facebook and Instagram, but I also do have Instagram only fans. And I just want to let them know that, hey, if you also check out my Facebook page, you could catch me there too. You can also be driving traffic to a new IGTV video. So even if you don't have 10,000 followers, you can actually link to an IGTV video in your story. When you click the link icon at the top of a story, you have an option to select an IGTV video to promote. And what it does is it'll play a small snippet of the IGTV video within a story, and then it gives the user the option to watch the rest of your video on your actual IGTV channel. The main thing, of course, to keep in mind is just make sure your IGTV video is uploaded first before you try to link it. And just a quick yes or no in the comments of who is actually using IGTV as well. So you say yes if you're using IGTV and no if you don't. And if you're not using it yet, I can touch on it a little bit at the end as well. And then the last thing is you might be wanting to drive traffic by highlighting new products or services that you have available. So all those are different things you can drive traffic to using stories and lives. The center one, number 2, is market research. Stories and lives are great for asking for direct feedback and testing different ideas. This is your chance to really ask your viewers for their opinion or preference on something, and you can measure even their level of excitement. And you might be wanting to measure things, measure how they feel for things that you've already put out into the marketplace, or gauge their interest on things you're thinking of putting out into the future. And then the big thing with market research is a great strategy is get your followers to actually direct message you. So it's great when they can respond, to, questions in your stickers, but ultimately if you can get them in your direct message inbox, there's a higher likelihood that you can convert them to a customer, because now it's just a one-on-one intimate conversation. They're getting to know and trust you more. And I think I heard there was like a comment or was there a reaction that came in? Let me see. Oh, Shanna, you're still trying to learn everything. So yeah, I hope in that case that this is a good entry point into at least stories and lives, and I'll probably do something separate for IGTV later if you'd like to know about that. All right, and then lastly, the last goal would be building a connection. So what are ways you can use stories and lives to have your followers get to know you more personally? Great ways to do hosting live Q&A sessions to give followers direct access to you. Conducting interviews with guest presenters. You can even encourage viewers to submit questions ahead of an Instagram live so you can answer them during the live itself. So I'll talk about that. And another thing too is you could share flashbacks by resharing old Instagram stories. So if you save your stories automatically, you have the option within Instagram's archive to reshare them. So if you like to do Throwback Thursdays or celebrate, big moments that happened a year ago or a month ago, you can reshare that to your stories, so you're not always having to come up with necessarily new content to share. But yeah, so those are the main 3 marketing goals. Drop them in the comments in terms of number 1, 2, or 3. Is there a particular goal that you have in mind as you're going through the different stories and lives example? I personally love the market research aspect because now as I'm trying to think of new content to create, I'll start posting different things in my stories just to sort of gauge, what are people responding to and what are people just sort of passing by. Okay. So let's get started with Instagram stories. And the way I like to think of Instagram stories is it's like a vlog where you're sharing small snippets of your experiences, your interests and opinions using a combination of photos and videos. And the main thing to remember with Instagram stories is that the content disappears 24 hours after you've posted it. So there's this idea of, followers kind of want to keep checking in just to see if you've posted anything new, because ultimately that won't live forever in your stories. It will only be there for a day. All accounts are able to have access to Instagram stories. And unlike with feed posts, your viewers cannot see any likes or any public comments with stories. And it's very easy to post an Instagram story. So when you're on your Instagram account, all you have to do is look for that camera icon on the top left of your screen, and you can tap it to start a story. Or another shortcut is if you swipe left from the edge of your screen, that also lets you start a story. Now, the thing I really want to focus on today is when you're going to post anything to your story, I want you guys to start leveraging, if you're not already, Instagram stickers. So stickers are things that can be added to images and videos, and they help make your stories a lot more interesting and ultimately more interactive. And I'll show different examples of stickers that can really drive that interaction in a second. One thing to know about stickers is that you can add multiple types of stickers to a story to maximize their impact, but there are certain stickers where you can only add one of that type. So for example, there's a sticker called the emoji slider. You can only have one emoji slider sticker on a story at a time, but you could combine an emoji slider sticker with a question sticker. So, just be aware that there are some limitations there. Now, when you click that stickers icon that I showed previously, this panel will slide up and you'll see all of these stickers available, and there's even more than what I'm showing here. You can scroll down and there's like a ton more stickers. But the 4 I really want to focus on today are the ones in this red box. And these are stickers that allow viewers to actively interact with your story. So instead of them just passively consuming your content, these are stickers that invite viewers to actually do something on your story. The 4 that I'm going to go over are, one of them is called Poll, and this is where you can ask people a question and have them pick from 2 options. And what's cool is as people vote on an option, the results are calculated in real time and are visible to the public. And I'll show you guys examples of each of these. The second sticker that's really helpful is questions. You can ask people an open-ended question, or you can give them an opportunity to ask you a question. And this lets you view all of the responses that you get from viewers, and you can even reshare those responses in a future story as a way of reusing that content. The third one is the emoji slider that I mentioned earlier. This lets you measure how strongly people feel about something, so it's a nice variation on the poll. Instead of saying yes or no, you could ask something like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love or hate or are frustrated by something? And people can give a more nuanced answer with an emoji slider. And then lastly, there's the quiz option. This lets you, again, ask a question, but instead of 2 options, they can pick one from up to 4 different options, and you're able to define the correct answer. And, that might be really fun if, you want to see how well do your, followers know you. Do they know your favorite food, your favorite color, etc. Okay. So let's dive into different ways you can use the poll. Now, the thing with polls is when you first add the poll sticker, the default options are set to yes or no, but you can change them. The idea is to keep the choices, very simple. Technically, 1 to 3 word answers are really good in this type of situation. And the cool thing with polls is you can actually use it to spark a conversation and get people talking about your brand. So in this first example, Collusion Studios, they're a clothing company, and they asked this question: do you think clothes should be gendered, yes or no? So, that's a fairly provocative question, and depending on how people answer, you could actually see in real time how, did 70% of their audience say yes, while 30% of their audience say no. So you could actually see that play out as your story runs through, what the results are. Dunkin' Donuts did, a more fun one. What's your favorite American classic, donuts or fries? So, audiences will pick. This was part of a campaign where they were actually announcing in the next story that they're rolling out a new product called donut fries. Same thing with Collusion Studios. The reason they asked this question is they're about to unveil a new clothing line for their customers. And then here's a fun one from Walking Dead. Which walker would you take down first, the armored or like the heavy zombie walker? One reason why this is fun is people feel invested if they feel they can shape the outcome of what comes next. So if the majority of the audience picked, heavy, maybe a future story will feature footage of, the heavy zombie walker getting taken down. This was actually a fun one I used, I think not a month, like last year, where I posted, 2 photos side by side that I had taken from a studio shoot, and I just asked, which picture is more dog-tastic? Because, one of the photos she was posing with her dog, but in the middle of the session, like the dog just kind of leaned up and licked her face, and it was super cute and awesome. So I wanted to share that. And so when I posted this, I think how many people, let's see, I think at least a dozen or so people voted, and all of them said that they preferred the right picture. They thought that was the most dogtastic. So an overwhelming favorite when you pose a choice like that is an indicator of what direction, you should go. So this, if you're torn between, picking a color for your product or which outfit that you should use to go live with, if there's an overwhelming answer, then, let that guide your ultimate decision. This middle screenshot, you can see the analytics of that particular story. And not only can you see how many people voted overall, but you can actually see the names of the people who voted on that story. And a great technique from here is you can actually directly message that person. I'm hitting this airplane icon here. So for example, if I want to message MB Quacks, I can now follow up with a question saying, oh, why did you vote that way? And that's going back to the market research goal. Like, you want to know exactly why are people making these choices, so you can tailor your copy or your future content based on what they tell you. Moving on now to questions. Questions can, even if it's not business related, it might be just a really fun way to start a conversation with followers. So I saw this game being passed around, with the whole toilet paper shortage with coronavirus happening, where someone said, take the title of a famous movie and replace one word with the word toilet paper. So I shared this, and I asked people to submit their movie titles, and got a bunch of different responses, and I chose a few that I thought were really amusing. For example, one person said, instead of Avengers Endgame, it was Avengers and toilet paper. So I actually reshared this as another story, and then I tagged the original person who suggested it, in this case, my friend Adventures of Tia, and then just had like a little response to her choice. So a great thing when you reshare someone's response in your story is make sure to tag them, because one, not only does it notify them that you're responding, it just also lets them know that you are actually listening, that you actually took the time to look at their response, and then they're more likely to keep responding to future questions that you ask. The other thing that's important with tagging a person is whoever you tag then has the option to reshare your story onto their stories. So you're actually expanding more reach when you start tagging people and they reshare your content. Another great thing with questions is you can get some very quick, candid feedback on recent changes that you've made or are planning to make. So in the example of Thinkific, they updated their logo at one point, and they just wanted to get, what are initial reactions that people feel about the logo change. So that's one quick way that you can do it. People can chime in and say why they do or don't like it. Photo Unique is an example of, she wants to collect frequently asked questions. So she asked her audience, what are other platforms do people use besides Instagram to grow their business? So she could basically, see and crowdsource different ideas based on what people say. And then here's something that I recently posted. So what question do you have about using Instagram stories for your business? Based on the responses here, that will help me put together a future help guide. So if certain problems keep popping up again and again, or questions come up again and again, then I know that there's a need for an answer, some kind of solution I can tailor make for it. And lastly, questions is a great way to direct people to current or future solutions that they didn't know you might already have. So for example, for this watch that recently got released by Greats Brand, they open it up for questions saying, hey, do you have questions on our products? And one of their customers responded, well, will we see a suede option in the near future? The company took the time to respond and say, we actually have, 2 products that there might be interested coming this fall. So that's letting them know, hey, we heard you, and keep a lookout so you can buy it later when we have it available. And then this third example over here is, when will their company start shipping to Italy? They actually have something in place already, so they're directing that customer to, shop at Nordstrom.com to get their products over in Italy. So, a lot of times customers might not know everything that your business, handles, and stories is a great way to address those types of questions. And then there's Ask Me Anything type Q&A. This is a great one that you could do whether you're doing it on your own channel or if you're doing a takeover on another account, where you could say, hey, ask me anything, whether it's personal or business related, and you can just take that time to respond and let people get to know you more on a personal level. Especially if it's not necessarily like business related questions. It might be like, what do you do in your free time? What's your favorite, this and that. You could take the time to respond and, have more personality in your responses. The third type is called the emoji slider. So I mentioned this before that, with a poll you get, choice A or choice B. But here you can actually let people have nuance in their response so you can gauge how they really feel. So when you add this emoji slider sticker, people can take their thumb and basically drag the emoji left or right, depending on how strongly or not strongly they feel about your question. So, here's one where it's asking, how much do you love pizza, right? And then in your analytics, which by the way, you can get to your analytics for any story by, swiping up from the bottom. It pulls up and it lets you know how many people answered your question, 234 people, and then what was the average answer that they gave. And then down below, here are all the individual responses that people gave. And again, by seeing their names, you could then have the option to direct message that person and ask them, oh, well, why did you feel so strongly or not strongly about it? And I just want to point out that when you use the emoji slider, you can actually customize which emoji you want to use based on the question that you're asking. So by default, they have the, the heart love emoji, but you could also change it, like, if you want to ask your audience's opinion on if they think something is a good idea that you're about to do, you could have like a thumbs up icon, or maybe it's like a negative emotion you want to ask about, like how frustrated are you when something happens, and people can pull the angry face slider to the left or right. So yeah, emoji stickers, really fun. The great thing with the emoji slider and the poll is, they're quick. So someone can quickly see this and, engage, and then the algorithm is picking up that, hey, your stories are getting, more engagement than normal. I should start showing the story, even more. And then last but not least, there is the quiz sticker. Now the quiz sticker is different in terms of it lets you put up to 4 options instead of just the 2 that's available in the poll. And the thing with the quiz sticker is you can actually define what is the correct answer. So I had an example earlier of, can you guess what my favorite color is? Red, blue, orange, purple. And I can say, well, purple is going to be the correct answer. And when people answer, they'll get this, red if they pick the wrong answer, green if they pick the right one. I wanted to show you how even though I know that that's the intended use of it, this is something I sort of kind of just tweaked to work around. I wanted to test 4 different options because I just wanted to see how many people would pick option A versus B or C. Because again, on the analytics on the left, it also tells you the number of people who picked a certain option. So on a recent live, I wanted to know, does the majority of my audience want to use live video to teach, plan a party, host a conference, or sell a product? And even though I know it would flash this wrong answer, there wasn't really a wrong answer, but I just wanted to see the number breakdown of what they picked across these 4 specifically. And I saw, out of the, I think 10 or so people who responded, the majority, 5 really wanted to teach a class or a workshop. So just to let you know, if you have a slightly different idea of how you want to use the quiz, this is an alternate way to do it. Or like I said, you could go with its traditional use, which is just picking one correct answer. And I see, oh, hey Tatum, she said she's just hopping on and she can't wait to watch the replay, and we'll watch them on. Okay. Yeah, thanks for letting me know, Tatum. It's been great. Hopefully I'm not going, too fast for those of you who are watching right now. So, okay. And this is for everyone either watching live or on the replay. We'd love to hear, like, what are some other creative ways you've used stickers on your stories. I'm curious to know, which stories you've been using consistently and which you've never tried before. Like I said, I really have been enjoying the poll and the quiz options, and I want to figure out more and more ways to use that to, like I said, do more of the market research goal. And also maybe just share like a few fun facts about me, leverage questions for myself that way to build that connection as the goal. But yeah, let me know for those watching the replay, which stickers you've been using or you want to use. And I just have a couple quick tips on how to optimize story engagement. How do we make sure that people are actually watching our stories? So the first one I'll say is avoid having too many stories at one time. So in this screenshot up here, each little dash represents a story that someone has posted within the last 24 hours. And these dashes get smaller and smaller the more stories that you post. And what might happen is someone will go check your story, see all these dots and think that is too much for me to consume at one time. I'm just going to come back later when he or she has less stories for me to look through. Like really similar to when you see a large block of text and you're just like, too long, not going to read. So, be thoughtful in how many you're uploading in one time. And if you have a set of stories that are related to each other, like let's say you're about to post, 10 stories about your recent trip to the grocery store. I'm thinking of food because of the whole coronavirus thing. But let's say you want to put 10 stories about the grocery store. Try to upload them back to back around the same time so that when they expire after 24 hours, that entire set of 10 will expire at the same time. So someone isn't coming to your story and like kind of halfway experiencing the story that you posted yesterday versus the new story that you're posting today. So, just kind of think about how you want to group stories so that they're viewed and they expire around the same time. The other thing too is give context to those who have the sound off when they're watching stories. So if you use a lot of video when you share a story, or if you even add music to, to a photo or video, keep in mind, like a lot of people just don't have the sound turned on when they're watching, or they're in a place where they can't turn their sound on. Like maybe they're they're scrolling through it while at work. To make sure that they still understand what's going on in your video, add some text, either a brief caption. Maybe it's too much for you to subtitle everything that's being said in that video clip, but at least give an overall gist of what you're talking about so that they can still follow along even if they're not hearing the audio. So I thought this was a really good example from Brandy and Company. She was talking about, what's been going on with her the past month. So in this story, she added text where she's saying, this is not the month I expected, life, trolls, and lessons learned. So she was going through some stuff. And she was then also saying, hey, I have a new podcast out. Have you listened? She customized her options to say, heck yes, I've listened, or I'm headed that way now. So, this is an example where obviously she changed the text. And yes, you can also put some emojis as part of your label. And then, of course, additional text asking the audience to let her know thoughts once they've listened to her podcast. So she had even more stories than this, but like I said, what was nice is I could actually follow along and not listen to any of her audio at all, and I'd still be interested. And before I leave the Instagram stories part, I'm just trying to see if anyone had any questions just on those topics that I went over. Just scanning real quick. Sissy, you're saying you said something about starting this weekend. Did you mean like you're going to start using stories this weekend, or maybe a particular sticker? And then hi to Bree and hi to Kay for watching. Thanks for joining, guys. Okay. All right. Since I don't see any Instagram story questions, I'm going to go on to talk about Instagram lives briefly. So if Instagram stories are like a vlog, I like to think of Instagram lives as a meetup where you can connect with people in real time. Oh, it looks like I have an old version of this slide. My bad, guys, but the first bullet is true. The content does disappear after 24 hours, and you can only do Instagram lives from your phone. So, hi, Kay. The other thing with Instagram lives, they're honestly so fun. You can still flip your camera around on a live where you could either be talking to the camera or flipping it around to show something that's happening around you. Like a really common time that people go live is when they want to share an event that they're at. Or, you know, if they want to be teaching something like this, they'll just flip the camera around and show themselves talking to it. But it's really fun. And I'll go more over on how you can add a guest to a live in a second, but I just want to briefly touch on how you can save stories and lives before I forget, because this is a question that I see a lot. People are asking like, well, if the stories and lives disappear after 24 hours, you know, how can I get them? How can I save them so that I repurpose it? So over here on the left, I recorded my screen so to make sure that you have this setting turned on so that whenever you save a story, you can access it. So for example, I'm playing this. So when you're in a story, if you tap on that more icon here on the bottom right, oops, let me rewind that. You'll get this menu and you'll select story settings. Oh, I think it froze. Uh-oh. Let's do that again. I think it should play now. Yeah, you click story settings and then you scroll to the section where it says saving, and make sure save to camera roll and save to archive are turned on. Because what that'll do is each time a story is posted, you know, to your account, it'll save a copy of that story to your camera roll. So whether it was a photo or video, it'll save a copy of that to your camera roll, so you'll have that to access and repurpose however you wish. And then the reason you want save to archive also toggled on is you want to be able to access it in your archive feed on your account. And I need to double check if I actually recorded that, because I meant to show you guys that too. Let me make sure. Because there was like a little video I recorded to show you where exactly that you could do that. 1 second. But yeah, at the very least, make sure that story setting is turned on. Okay. Now, the other big thing with lives, so here's a before and after. This is the screenshot of when the person was going live, and this is the screen that you get as soon as you end the live. Before you hit done, you need to look for this little down arrow up in the top corner. I think they've moved it since then from the top right to the top left. But look for that download icon, and that is your opportunity to save it to your camera roll. And when you're first starting doing lives, you think that you can go back and get your live. So as of right now, Instagram is not letting you, Instagram natively doesn't let you go back and just save your live or access a saved live. This is your chance to do it right here. There are other tools that I've seen online when I was researching that lets you, you know, like there's like there were Chrome extensions where you can, you know, download previous or past stories, lives from other people's accounts. But when I'm looking through the comments, sometimes those get discontinued. Sometimes those don't always work. So just better to be safe and just do it as soon as your live video ends. Don't forget that. I really wish they would make that download icon a lot more visible than that subtle little icon at the top. That's very easy to miss, but I just want you to be aware of that. But yes, so this is what your screen will look like when your live video ends. Before you hit done, just make sure that you do that. One thing I also want to point out is you can both have stories and a live posted to your account at the same time. It will basically, when someone taps on your profile picture, it will ask them, well, do you want to view their stories or do you want to view their lives? So it gives them the option to watch one or the other. So I have a video of to show you guys how easy it is to start an Instagram live. And I will get out of this for a second, and I have a video. And is my screen, hopefully you guys can see the video I'm about to play in full screen. I'm just doing a quick screen check. Right. So here's an example of how I'm about to go live on my computer. And before I get too far into it, I just want you to notice a couple things. When you logged into your account, when you see a colored ring around someone's profile pic, that means that they have an active story, going on. So that's your cue that, tap on that person and see what stories that they've posted. You see that there is no ring around my profile pic because at this point that day, I did not have a story posted to my account. Okay, so I'm gonna hit play. So you see that I tapped the top left camera icon, and then I swiped to, well, let me move this, it was blocking it. When you first tap that icon, you need to swipe to the left to get to the live option. So on the bottom left, you'll see the live option there. And it's going to tell you that you're on the live option and say that they're going to start notifying some of your followers so that they don't miss it. So this is a matter of like timing. If you look at your analytics and you know that the majority of your followers are on at a certain time, like they're really active between 12 and 1 p.m., that's when you can schedule your live. And it even tells you up at the top how many of your followers are active right now, meaning they'll probably get notified that you're going live. So I'll keep going. And then here, I get the notification that I am now live. And usually, just like with Facebook Live, it takes a minute or two to have people, unless you've told them ahead of time that you're going live, it'll usually take people a little bit of time to join. In this case, since I was running a test, my husband John joined right away. And you can see also the number of viewers that are watching you, just like on Facebook Live. And I can comment, I can wave to him. That's a really good way to be engaging, like as people join your live. Just hit that wave button, acknowledge that they're there. And the other thing that you could do, before I forget to tell you, is if you want to pin a comment, all you have to do is press and hold on the comment that you want pinned. So if I wanted to press and hold this smiley face emoji, pressing and holding this would give me the option to pin that comment so that any other person who joins would always see his comment at the top. So that's really helpful if, let's say, you want to type in a website that you want everyone to see when they join your Instagram live. You could pin that website link comment to the top. I just want to make sure that you guys knew that that was possible. And the thing I wanted to show here is I actually want to invite allow one of my followers, to join me on the live. So you don't see it on my end, but on on a viewer's end, they have the option to send a request to join the live with you. So John just sent me a request to be on the live, and I get this little notification right here. And once I tap on view, I have the option whether or not I want to accept John to go live with me. I can only have one person go live with me at a time, but I can have as many people join me as I want, but I can just only do it one at a time. So in this case, I say yes, I want to go live with Boisuka. And I'm waiting for him to accept my invitation. And once he accepts, you're going to see that it went into split screen mode. So whoever started the live will remain on top, and whoever is your guest will be on the bottom. So here we are, we're both having a conversation back and forth. This is a great chance for you guys to, remember I mentioned you could do live Q&A. So you could have your, you could do like hot seats, like someone's calling in with a problem, and you can, live workshop a solution for them. Or maybe they're just asking you like a burning question they've always wanted to ask you. You can have this one-way conversation with that guest, and everyone who's watching can is obviously observing it too. You could also use this technique if you want to do an interview with someone. I've been on Instagram lives where she was a photographer, but she was asking me to share about like my branding tips. And so we had worked out like some questions back and forth that we would ask each other during the live, and we did it, this way, split screen like that. Being told that there are comments. I don't see the comments. Do you see it? Let me see. Okay, Kay was asking, should lives also be constant and done at the same time for best viewing results? Okay, I think what you're asking, Kay, is, should you be scheduling them at the same time in terms of, having a consistent time to go live? So generally, yes, you can set that expectation that, hey, I'm going to go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. so that people can have that in their mind to just be online already to join. So you start building that consistently. Just like with a TV show, when you expect a new episode to come out at a certain time, then you're going to make sure that you schedule things so that you're there physically able to join live. And you'll probably start seeing more viewership, more traction that way. I know there are some people who like going live every day or every other day, and that might just seem very overwhelming at first when you're just going started. So my suggestion is always, pick whatever frequency you want to start with first. And if you're afraid of going live, just give yourself 5 to 10 lives where all you're doing is just showing up when you say you're going to show up. Don't even worry about like how many people are viewing you or joining. The goal is just to start building that consistency of showing up when you plan to. And are there filters before you go live? Yeah, you can, excuse me, you can swipe to select different ones. My recommendation is, if you can, just stand by the window light like I was doing, and window light is the best filter, in my opinion. So, but yeah, there's the different filters available. And let me make sure I got all your other questions. Yeah, and honestly, Kay, it's so easy to go live. You don't even have to go live for very long. Like, start with, can I do 1 minute just answering a quick question that someone asked me, and then end it. And then next time, maybe you do 5 minutes, talking about what you did that day. Just starting small and just not worrying about the viewership at first is my best piece of advice for that. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah. So, going back to the guests, so John is my guest. I was saying different ways you could use this guest format as a Q&A, answering live questions, etc. Right, so you can see we're talking back and forth, and when I'm done with him, I can hit that X icon. So you saw that little notification slide up asking me to confirm if I want to remove him, remove my guest. And once I hit remove, then he's gone. And at this point, I can choose someone else could have sent me their request to also join, and I can have a second person join, and a third, and a fourth, etc., etc. In this case, we just wanted to show you that real quick, and we can end it. I want to show you a few more things on this Instagram Live interface to know about. So on the top left with those arrows, that's your way to flip the camera. So obviously that you could, instead of it pointing at my face, you could point it to my environment around me. Down here at the bottom, if you look at these icons, so if I click the bottom right icon here, that actually allows me to pull up photos from my photo library. So this is a way you could actually, like quote unquote share slides. You could have prepped slides ahead of time and save them to your camera roll. And then during your live, you could click on that, select one photo or a series of photos to share. And that's your way of, like sharing, graphics. So that's like, the only downside with Instagram Live right now is if you're someone like me who likes to, share her screen a lot as part of my education. That's why I've leaned more into Facebook Lives, but that is a way you could do it with Instagram Lives. So the sparkly face icon down here, okay, is where you can access, different fun stickers and filters. And then I really want you to draw your attention to this questions icon here. Remember I talked about how questions are great to drive engagement. So before you go live, a technique you can do is you can ask a question in your story before you go live. And then during your live, you can click this sticker, or you can click this icon, and you can actually pull up the question that you asked before, and then you can actually pull up the responses that people have submitted. And that's one way you can actually bring questions over into your live. So that's like a really neat interactive trick. So someone who asked a question like an hour ago and is joining your live now, they could actually be watching you pull up their question and answer it on the spot, which I think is very cool. Right, so just going through the rest of the video. I think at this point I clicked end, and it asked me one more time, are you sure you want to end your live video? And I say yes to end now. And then it tells me that the live video is ended and recaps that I had 3 viewers. And I have the option to now share this live to a story. I can delete it if I want. And then that's it. And then I can close it. Now, one glitch I see every now and again, and I'm still researching on why it does this. Remember I told you about look for the download icon to save your live? In this particular example, my download icon did not show up. The reason I even have this video to show you guys is because I was just screen recording on my iPhone. It has a tool that does it built in. But the next time I went live, then the download icon was back. So I've been researching to see, why does that download icon appear and not appear? So as a backup, in case that happens to you, if you've got an iPhone, have your screen recording at least turned on so you can at least capture the screen, if not the audio, just to have something as backup, because at least I had this to talk to, right? But a reason, like, again, why you might want to repurpose the lives is you could basically take this video footage and upload it as an IGTV video to reshare, to your audience. So, and then the last thing I want to show you guys is when you've got when you've uploaded a live, if anyone looks at your profile pic, see how now mine has the purple circle around it and it has that play icon. That's letting my viewers know that I recently went live and that it's that it's shared to my story. So that's how viewers will know that they've recently missed something. I think that was it. So yeah, if someone taps on my account, they'll be able to start watching the video here. I just basically tapped on it almost immediately, so that's why it's saying the video is not available yet. Yeah, but I hope that was clear, like just how easy it is for you to go live. The last thing I want to show you guys is on just to touch briefly on the IGTV part. So when I talk about repurposing it, with Instagram Lives, you might have, just with Facebook Lives, there might be hiccups here and there that you want to edit out. But basically, once you've cleaned up your video, you can upload it through IGTV, and you can do it through your mobile phone or on the website. You can hit upload. But here you have a library of all of your IGTV vids. Think of it like YouTube, but within Instagram. IGTV is your chance to have long form video content in Instagram, right? And just like on YouTube, you can give it a title, pick a thumbnail, and you can also add descriptions and hashtags to it. So when you click on an IGTV video, hopefully I can mute this real quick so you don't hear the audio. Okay, I guess it's not playing right now, or it's trying to load it, but yeah. So imagine that this video was shortened clips from an Instagram Live that you just did. You can then stitch this together and repurpose content, and you've got like, a new set of content that you didn't have to do from scratch. Trying to get it to play. But like I said, you can also put a description to it, add hashtags, etc., just like you would on any other post. So yeah, if you're not using Instagram TV yet, this is a way you can get started just by repurposing your live video. One other thing I want to say is if you are hosting an interview, the person that gets the option to save the live is the one who started the live to begin with. So in that example, I started the live and John joined me. And let's say he wants a copy of the live also because he wants to share it on his website. I'm the one who got the option to save the live video because I'm the one that initiated it. In that case, I would just share the MP4 file to him for him to use. So hopefully I didn't lose anyone there. Just checking to see if there's any other comments. Okay, very cool. And because I was just talking about lives, oops. Let's scroll up a second. Uh-oh. I think my computer can't handle it anymore. I was gonna show you guys like a quick freebie that might help you guys out for those who actually want to start doing lives. So I'll probably just drop it in the comments of this live so you guys can see it if you want. But other than that, that is what I had today. So switching back. So trying to see, I don't think there's any other questions right now, but yeah, I hope that give you a really good intro course into ways you can engage on stories and on Instagram lives. Once you start getting the hang of it, it's really fun just trying to test different stickers out, test different questions out, and see how people respond to you. And if there's no other questions, I'll keep looking in the comments. So if you guys notice something on the replay that you want me to dive more into, just let me know. But again, thank you to Tuesdays Together for giving me this opportunity, and have a great rest of your evening. And my motto, John's reminding me I'm supposed to leave with my catchphrase that I worked on, which was that I want to help people conquer the digital empire one big idea at a time. So if your big idea is you want to share something live, then, go forth with that. Like, get the confidence, just put your stuff out there. Don't worry about what other people will say. Just do it. Be bold, be brave. So, and Shanna, you're very welcome. Yeah, let me know. I know you said that you were just starting with everything, and it can be a lot at first, but yeah, just start with stories. Stories is a great way to start, and I'm here if you have other questions. Right? Thank you, guys.